This is a slightly inebriated Shannon and Brian coming from our parents' basement that is full of spooky noises.
It is full of a lot of spooky ambient noises.
Yes. So today we are doing the Would I Watch It for 2 shows, Mao Mao Heroes of Heart?
It's Mao Mao Masters of the Universe, I believe.
Something.
Oh, no. Mao Mao Brotherhood.
You can't get away with the Brotherhood joke that long. You have to give it up.
It's a staple.
Whatever. And then the second show is Batman, the animated series.
I remember the Mao Mao show. It's Mao Mao, the animated series.
Too early for me to be this angry at
Sorry.
you.
It's just, I'm a little bit nervous because it's my first time doing the series with you. So I have a lot of what I watched jitters.
I've done this once.
Yeah, and now
and
it's
no one liked
established.
it.
Oh, no one liked it? What are you
Well, no one didn't like it. It's there.
Like, should I go and give it a downvote?
No,
when we finish?
like
Okay.
it.
All right, I'll give it a
I worked
downvote.
really hard on like all 4 minutes of it.
Yeah.
It was on Gargoyles, by the way. Which, you know what? I'm going to make this our segue. Because I think Gargoyles and Batman, the animated series, are very similar, actually, in a lot of the things that make it up, like, production-wise.
That's fair. I feel like even just from the art vibes, the voice acting, the kind of general 1990s cartoonery of it,
The chins.
it might be fair to say that that time period, cartoons were a little bit more homogenized. Not saying entirely. I want to say that, like, 90s cartoons had a much more central vibe to them.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, now you can shoot off in different directions and there's kind of some more spokes on the wheel.
Yeah, and I think that's a natural progression of, like, most media. But yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the color, too. And I've been very guilty of considering Teen Titans, like, the first and only cartoon to do a lot of what it did. And one thing I always praised it for was its use of darker colors to set a mood, which, like, now I'm starting to realize is very much not unique.
Especially the period that Teen Titans came out, and you can kind of see the homage they were paying, I feel like, to those early I don't know, necessarily could have even been maybe a little bit earlier, but those older cartoons definitely walked so that, Teen Titans could run so that, Ruby could fall flat on its face.
God, it's like, we already did everything. We made the Brotherhood joke.
We did.
We already joked on Ruby. R.I.P.
Yeah.
What else is there?
I'm just falling back on my laurels. I don't have a lot of material.
Oh,
It's
God.
just-
But yeah, no, I definitely like the use of darker colors. I always thought that, because the thing too is I also enjoy very bright shows. I think it's whether or not you can use your color scheme to the tone of your show, to your advantage.
Stylization is good. It can be in whatever direction you want it to be in. But, like, when you watch certain things, and, like, we might be able to get to this a little bit later, perhaps, when talking about Mao Mao, certain shows have a style, it's just not a very strong style. And, like, I always will say, even if something's not my cup of tea, I prefer to have a stronger taste, to really to really get all the milk out of this metaphor that I can. Like, you really want something to impact you, and, like, I will respect something that I actually have more of a distaste for than something that I just kind of feel neutrally about.
Yeah.
And, like, Batman was definitely very stylized.
I agree wholeheartedly, because I think especially with me and you, we will watch something ironically very hard to the point where it's debatable whether or not it's even ironic. Like Code Lyoko. You could not sit there and say Code Lyoko doesn't have a very specific style. Their foreheads invented foreheads.
Yeah, it was also, like, years ahead of that 3D animation curve, right?
2003, I think?
Yeah.
Is that pre or post Jimmy Neutron? Because he also was playing
true.
the
But
game.
I mean, it was, like, it's weird because of the Code Lyoko with how smooth all the lines are and everything. It just reminds me so much of, like, what you see nowadays is kind of coming back into that self-shaded. It wasn't, but, like, it reminds me of that,
No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, we're getting really distracted from talking about Batman.
Batman, the animated
the animated series.
All right, so I do want to talk about what was probably the most grotesque part of this show, and that is Robin's hair. I don't like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's all I have to say.
And that's all I had to say about it.
Take it away.
So, in the negatives column for animation and stylization, we have Robin's hairline.
Yes.
In the positive column, what I will say is, as far as the animation is concerned, if we're being secular about it, like, it was really good, I thought. Especially considering, and I will say considering, like, the 90s. Like, there were some parts of it that were, like, a little cheesy, like some of the painted backgrounds and still shots, and there were absolutely things that are, like, you could see how they became, like, meme GIF sets and, still images and stuff. It wasn't the animation or, like, the imagery of the show that really, like, made me not enjoy myself or would withhold me from watching it. You know what I mean? As far as if you were to put the style in a box, I would say decent, at least. If not, it's pretty good.
No, definitely. Ever since I started learning more about animation cells and like everything, I think it was like pre 2002 when those were like at the peak. I've had a whole new layer of appreciation for the way shows used to be animated, which was like frame by frame with so much detail to each given moment that honestly, it's hard to shit upon the animation when you know so much effort went into making it like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, like in a similar style, if we're talking more about production notes as opposed to just our feelings about the writing and
Yeah.
stuff. Voice acting was like weirdly kind of hit or miss for me. I want to say like in the positive column again, like there were some parts of it that really stood out.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. It's Mark Hamill.
When is he bad?
I know
Never.
he can't be. And like I would say like Batman is supposed to kind of be a stoic figure, so like whether or not it's good or bad, it's kind of hard to say. Some of the characters in the show though were
Yeah.
left something to be desired.
Oh, I will say I was not surprised when I went under the man who voiced Batman, whose name is eluding me. I'll put it up on the screen.
Mhm.
When I went into his records under Behind the Voice Actor, my favorite website, he like only voiced Batman,
I mean,
which like it checks out because
yeah.
like he when I hear his voice, all I think is like, I am a beacon of the night.
Where's Rachel?
Where's Rachel?
Where is she?
I do actually a really bad Batman voice. I'm sorry, Lauren. It's kind of embarrassing. So you know what? I can't talk smack if I can't do it.
You can't do a good Batman, but you can do the hell out of that one chick from
You're talking about Jennifer Coolidge.
yeah, Jennifer Coolidge.
So moist. Ugh, I would die to be Jennifer Coolidge.
Do you think that she ever voice acted for any animated series?
She has?
No way.
No, she did. She was in Gravity Falls.
No.
Yes.
Honestly,
Bless her.
yeah, really.
She's doing God's work out there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, the voice acting was good. It was fine. I mean that Joker's also iconic. Like speaking from outside of someone who's not super into Batman and like who
Me either. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, like I just know from like talking to friends and like other people who are like big fans of both the medium and the universe. That Joker's supposed to be like iconic, right? Like kind of
Yeah.
like he was a cultural reset for like a lot of people, and like Mark Hamill is just on some king shit. I love him.
All right, let's go to plot. Because if we're past the production, let's go into the obvious thing, Brian, that we both noticed, which is that show got good the second the Joker went out on a Christmas tree rocket.
Yep. And then it stopped being good when he left. No one else saw it. B. Shatton's the only one here, but I rolled my eyes when she said the word plot. So
It's a strong word. Plot is a strong word. You can love a show as much as you want, but there were definitely barriers then that don't exist now, which I've talked about. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that you watched what was on TV at the time. There was no way to watch it in serial order like there is now. So everything's like has a bit more overarching plot. Obviously, after someone corrected me and say, hey, check out Gargoyles, it's not true for everything. And there will be overarching plot even in the older stuff. The plot was that people were dangling over lava, and then he jumped and saved the people from dangling over lava, very unrealistically, may I say.
it is a surface value show.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a rude way either. Like, first of all, shows like that still exist now, and like that's fine. A show doesn't always need to have deeper levels or deeper meaning or like more complex stuff. It's good to have like a mixed basket of shows to choose from. It's just that like when you are picking like more of a one note show, something's got to carry it, right? It's got to be the humor. It's got to be maybe some like insane action sequences. There's got to be something going on, and like time has passed. It's been 30 years almost. Oh my god, the show's gonna be 30 years old next year. Sorry, did I just ruin that for you? Are you okay? Are you good?
No.
You don't look good. No.
No.
All right. Well, 30 years having passed since the show came out. That's a lot of time. And like I said before, I want to give my kudos to the animation. I can imagine when you were a kid, popping down in front of the TV in the early 90s watching the show was probably insane. It was just when it's one note, it's got to be a good note. And Batman was fine again. It's going to sound like I'm really shitting on the show. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'd be able to sit through a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
It would have to be
Well,
really...
don't spoil the answer to what I watch it just yet, Brian.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rescind my statement. It's still a mystery. Nobody knows how I'm going to end up feeling about this show. But if we're talking just about plot, I would say that was maybe where like the most was left to be desired, because I've been spoiled recently with shows that either do have these kind of deeper complex layers that pull you in,
Yeah.
or shows that are just really, really good at the one or two things they're good at, and like, being funny, or I'm trying to think of like good examples even, because I don't want to just, have an empty case here.
Yeah. I think the problem is that If they had maybe gone a little harder into this, like the second he blasted off on a rocket ship that was a Christmas tree, I was getting excited because I thought maybe we're going into that older He-Man, like this is so stupid, I'm going to enjoy it so much kind of thing. But then they held back and were taking it just a little too seriously for me to fully invest in the buffoonery. Anyway,
Yeah.
now I can officially say, fuck Batman the Animated. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I actually liked it.
But I guess, are we at the stage now where we can ask the question?
I think we can.
Okay.
So, Brian.
Yes.
Would you watch it? Batman the Animated Series.
I am going to say, regrettably, and I use that word not loosely, I don't think I would. I know it has a huge cultural role in a lot of animation, and you know, people nowadays appreciate it a whole lot. I would even say that for the time I can understand, you know, how good it was and things like that. And there's some things I did appreciate. I just don't think I could see myself sitting through more than what I did already, just kind of get a tone for everything. You know, so I would have to go ahead and say in the binary, nah.
Okay. I think I'm going to lean towards the same thing as you, saying no, I wouldn't. However, I'm going to put an asterisk there because, one, I think that's mostly because I just don't like Batman-focused DC things. You know, I'm more towards just like the Young Justice, the Teen Titans, the live-action Titans, which is just bad, but so enjoyable.
Just say you have a crush on Robin and go.
No! 'Cause it's not that. Anyway, shut up. Shut up. Anyway, I also think that I probably will go on my phone later, type in coolest scenes from Batman animated series, and just bust through those, because I have a feeling it's going to get pretty dark at times.
There's
They give
probably
those
some.
vibes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I want to see those clips, but I don't think I want to sit through the filler between it.
Very fair. It aired for a while, right?
I'm pretty sure it's one of those, like, long ones. 'Cause I think back then there were more rules about, like, how much you had to create per season. Or
Right.
something. I don't know. I think it was pretty long.
No, for sure, for sure.
Moving on to Mao Mao, Masters of the Universe. I have the Mao. You think you're the only one that could do funny jokes, Brian.
I mean, you did what a pun's supposed to do, which is ruin my day. You know, beyond that.
By the way, I just found out I was very wrong. It's Mao Mao, Heroes of Pure Heart.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, just some fun stuff. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I was telling Shannon earlier, while I was watching the show, I also was Googling a lot of stuff at the same time, which some of it we'll get into later. I think it started, and this was like a line on Wikipedia or whatever, so you don't quote me on it. I think it started as like a Newgrounds like web project thing that just ended up getting like, you know, fully pushed to be a cartoon. Which
Like
is kind
Kipo?
Is that what happened with Kipo?
I'm pretty sure Kipo was like a webcomic.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like seeing that kind of stuff
It
happen.
is. Yeah, it's neat.
And I think that comes off a lot with like how goofy it is, which is good. Like I think it's very goofy in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me like Gumball energy at times.
Okay.
I feel like you have opinions.
I do. But you go.
No.
Where do you want to start? Where do we should probably do it by
Okay.
section, or we're gonna get distracted.
Do you have
That's
any
what
more
you do.
fun facts? Because I haven't heard them.
Okay,
yet.
so voice actors
Yes.
is where a lot of this came in, because I was channeling my Shannon. I said I want to look up behind the voice actors, but just like maybe IMDb or whatever. And there's very few voice actors. I shouldn't say maybe very few, but like everyone has like a few people on that. I think the guy who made the show, Simmons, something or other.
Was it like
you got this.
Parker Simmons?
Parker Simmons was like voicing a few people. I think he was the main
Mao,
Mao guy. Plus some others. Like everyone else had like maybe 2 or 3 roles, and it was funny because of the small cast and like the more simplified animation style and storytelling lines. Even though this is clearly a show aimed at a younger audience, reminded me a lot of those older Adult Swim series.
Yes.
Which is funny because a lot of people who did voices for those old Adult Swim series were voices on the show.
Oh, that's fun.
There were guys from Metalocalypse, one of them was. Most importantly, there was an old show that, I'm going to be honest, no one cancel me. I watched this when I was in high school, and it's been a minute, and maybe it doesn't hold up as well as I think it did. It's called Venture Bros. And there's a villain called the Monarch, who has like one of those kind of like, I'm the Monarch kind of voices.
Skeletor.
Kind of Skeletor. And he is the voice, I think, of one of the main people.
That's cool.
In the show.
Because I didn't recognize any of them.
Right,
Normally
right.
I recognize them.
I remembered. He's the snake orangutan guy. The villain. He's the
Oh,
pirate
no.
guy. Yeah.
That's
So, you know,
silly.
some people are just born to play villains, like Mark Hamill.
Oh, and he does an excellent job.
You know.
Yeah, I did not know any fun facts. I remember thinking like, oh cool, the guy who made it like did the voice. He did a good job. I also remember being surprised at how recent it was because like you said, it gave off the energy of something a little older. I think we talked a lot about like early 2000s Cartoon Network vibes of like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Not to say that the shows are similar at all, but they feel like they're from a more similar time.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, animation wise, it was pretty solid. I don't think it was anything to write home about. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. What are your thoughts? You look like you have thoughts now.
Honestly, because like the number one thing that swayed me, because like I thought it was funny.
Mhm.
The humor got me very early on. I was excited to watch it.
Right.
I thought the pacing was excellent because it was well, it was easy to watch in 10 minutes. I will say, Adorabat can fight me.
Yeah. But I agree. It was like not really much going on in the cup of main characters. I think that the
Whoa!
well, no,
Whoa!
okay, all right. We can beef it out. Go ahead. Here you start. Go nuts.
So you start.
All right. I feel like I'm just digging myself a hole now, but the Adorabat, because it was a bat, was kind of just annoying. I thought that each of the other two guys, the large guy with the cannon mechanical hand thing, and then
I feel like when you said Adoracat, there's like some sort of Shiro joke in there.
oh, there is.
I just don't know what it is.
I wish that I knew about the show earlier. We could have just used that as our ship names for stuff.
Continue. I'm so sorry. I've cut you off like 30 times today.
No. It's because I talk a lot. It's
No,
fine.
no. I'm just like getting drunk on like fucking peach bellinis. I'm old now.
Yeah.
I can't.
This is what it is.
I'm sad.
I'm old now. I watched Batman the Animated Series and Mau Mau. This is what being an adult is like. Oh, goodness.
Go ahead.
But I like the other two guys. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like, Mau Mau was like a fine, hot-headed lead character. I thought that his jokes were really some of the only ones that kind of landed with me.
Yeah.
Also, the one where the alligator tried to fly with the metal wings. That was very funny. But I think that was my problem. Is just I mentioned before, like one-noted shows need to really do something good, and like the show's clearly going for humor.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was funny, it was cute. It just like wasn't enough of that to really rope me in.
And I think the problem too is that when you're having 10-minute episodes, and we're basing this off of 3 episodes as a rule of thumb, it's hard because it could get really good and we just don't know. And like we have to stick that one based off the first 3.
100%.
I think the funniest for me was like the point where he's like, Adorabat, like you were just distracting him so I could make like a mold of his foot, right? That was very funny to me.
Yeah, he's like, I used what was the other guy's name? It's gonna drive me nuts.
I got you, 1 second. Badger Clops.
Badger Clops. That's an actually sick name.
No, it kind of is.
He was like, yeah, when Badger Clops shoved his hands down like the King's throat, and I like used that as an opportunity to mold his foot. Like, yeah, it's funny. It had jokes that landed.
Yeah.
100%. You know what I mean? Again, it was very vibrant art style. And it's like, here's the thing. This isn't a show that was written for 27-year-old me. That's silly. It was written for kids. And like,
you're not 27.
how old am I?
You're 26.
Are you sure?
Do the math.
Wait, hold on. Oh, God. Wait, am I? I don't believe you.
2021
Yeah.
minus 1995.
Okay, you're right. I'm just apparently ready to dig my grave faster. Circumnavigating that depressing line of thought.
I liked Badger Claw. Okay, I will say, I did like the character designs and the way they all balance each other out.
It was. Yeah, no, for sure. It was very distinct and good.
Uh-oh. I think this is a not great sign that we're, like, out of things to talk about.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say something because I've been talking a lot. I talked a lot about Batman the Animated Series, then I talked a lot about Mau Mau.
I think you talk more than you do.
I mean, are we going to do, like, a rushed when I watch it, or am I talking more about the show? I could probably find something. Oh, wait, you know who he reminds me of? Do you remember that show with the 3 cats and the one was Scottish?
Cat Scratch?
Cat Scratch. The one with the black cat with the pointy ears. He like looks similar, sort of, to that guy.
There was Waffle, like Gordon, and then the third guy.
He was the straight man. He was like the one who was like fed up with their stuff all the time.
I need to know his name now. Was it like Mr. Wiggles or something? Mr. Blick.
Mr. Blick. What a good name for a straight man, like of a group. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm bothered because why do we have Mr. Blick, but none of the other cats are listed in the beginning? Waffle.
Wouldn't it be really funny if, like, on the Wikipedia page it was, like, Waffle, and then in parentheses it did that thing where it's, like, deceased, where, like, they had killed them off in the show?
You know, I swear, I'll be on, like, a Wikipedia for something very silly. Like, I think it was on the one for glitch text, and it's, like, character status alive. I'm like, I would hope so. It doesn't seem like the show where they would, like... But whenever I see that, I'm, like, worried, because I'm like, well, does that imply that someone's
gonna
here is
die.
deceased?
Yeah. Okay, remember before when I was trying to come up with an example of a more one-note show.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that Glitch Text doesn't have, like, elements of other stuff,
yeah.
but it is a show that is predominantly there to kind of just be a little bit funny, a little bit uplifting. And I think it is a phenomenal show that does that, by comparison to these two shows today, which were oddly similar in my heart. Where it's not really a show that I can say is for me. But, like, even from that standpoint, there are shows like that we do enjoy. And I just don't think either show took what it was doing far enough, or did everything quite as refined as I would hope, which is why I would say Mao Mao, same cup of tea. I don't think I'd watch it.
On the contrary,
Okay.
I think I would watch Mao Mao. However, I don't think it's something I would watch in serial order, sit down and binge. It's definitely something I plan to watch, but more like whenever I feel like I need an upbeat episode of something or other, I'll just throw it on. And I think that's what it was intended for.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go with, would I watch Mao Mao? Would I watch Mao Mao? Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe.
Yes, I would. Which is weird because same with you, I think objectively these two shows are in a very similar place in my heart. I just think I already have so many plot-driven, darker shows to weed through that I need something short and sweet.
A little bit of what we like to call eye bleach.
Eye bleach, yes, from all the sorrow that I face.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit nervous that people are going to be mad at me.
Yeah, the thing too is that I picked these two because I have a whole list of shows that people like. Recommended is a strong word because sometimes someone will just say, "Oh, here's a show," and then I'm like, "Oh, they're clearly recommending it to me. They care so much about me looking at this." So I assume that they are recommending it, and I put it on a list. The only two I remembered, like from the top of my head, were these two. However, there are a bunch more that I plan on also watching, and maybe forcing you to watch with me, Brian.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
I'll watch anything.
Episode title, Catman, because it's Mao Mao. Is
Catman?
No, that's not even.
Do you remember when Robin said...
Bats and cats. Bats and cats.
Bats and cats?
Bats and cats. Would I watch it?
Do you remember when Robin said, "Now I see why they call you Batman," when Batman was using the bat? Because that was actually good. If there was one part...
You're like, I can't believe you're not like hyping yourself up. Brian made that joke like 2 seconds before Robin did, and we both looked at the screen like Brian predicted the future.
Yeah, it was not my finest moment, I think. Because if a 1992 animated sidekick has the same sense of humor that I do, what does that say about me?
Can we call Robin a sidekick in my household?